Board meeting to order. Start with Pledge of Allegiance, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Do we have any personal appearances? All right, we'll move on to approval of meeting minutes. I entertain a motion to approve minutes.
I will, so move.
Second.
There's motions to approve both meetings.
Both sets of meetings.
Any discussion? Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, approval of the bills of the amount. We have an additional bill to go, so we'll, Mr. Olson.
Yeah, President Emery, Commissioners, we do have one additional bill to add to the total tonight. It's for a greenhouse installation for horticulture. Again, the number that needs to be added to these bills is $23,211.37, which would bring our overall total to $787,042.38, if you so approve. Then we have another one for foundation, is in line with that same project.
Yep. I would entertain a motion to approve bills amount to $787,042.38.
So move. Second.
Discussion. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Hovda. Okay. Olson,
Yes.
Wharton,
Yes.
Emery.
Yes. Thank you. All right, approval for salaries, the amount of $351,964.48.
So move.
I'll second.
Any discussion on salaries? Discussion on salaries? Roll call, please.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Hovda, Olson,
Yes.
Wharton,
Yes.
Emery.
Yes. Do we have anything, information on financials?
Nothing out of the ordinary. Revenue is down, which we will talk about at a later point, but our operating expenses are down as well.
No. We can't hear you. Here, hold on, sorry. Cliff, we can't hear you through the speaker. Do you just want to do it on the phone here? I can put you on speaker? Okay, here you go. You're going to be on speaker now. Sorry.
Yeah,
All right.
I'm on the phone now. Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
Okay, good. That should work. Thank you.
All right, department reports. We all had our department reports. I guess I'd ask Mr. Olson if he has anything to add to any of the reports.
President Emery and Commissioners, I don't have anything to add to my submitted report. The only item that we do need action on tonight is the 2020 paving project information that was previously sent out, that we opened up last Thursday. So again, I mean, what we're looking at right now for our different paving projects that are working through Ackerman, Eswold. We're recommending to award the bid to Minot Paving for the project, plus alternate 1, A1 and B1, which are the pavement versus concrete for Leach Park and Woodland Trail parking lot, and then adding a single stall restroom at Woodland Trail, which is alternate C1, and all that information is on page 2 of the packet that was submitted. So Minot Paving's amount, just for the paving project, is $969,117.80. That's just the paving project. If you add in all the A&E fees and bonding fees, we're looking at a total amount of $1,172,000 all in. I can try to answer any questions, otherwise Jeff is here from Ackerman Eswold if you want to get into the technical piece.
I would entertain a motion to approve the paving district with Minot paving for $1,172,000.
Just looked over the numbers here, just trying to figure out where,
He's definitely higher than what we had projected.
Yes, and in the letter, you know, again, total bids and everything that between the engineer's estimate and what everything came in at is approximately $239,989.80, which is, again, is mainly due to higher than expected bid prices for the removal and replacement of asphalt at the Roseville Park Zoo. Because that'll be a very tricky area to work with, because you can't bring in big equipment. It's all skid steers and a lot of, I assume, as they call it, hand pavement. And then obviously the price for asphalt has not gone down like we were hoping.
This is a project that we are bonding for, and one of the other projects in there that we did last meeting that we took bids was, I think, a little over $300,000 less than the estimate. So what we saved on the last one, we're paying extra on this one.
Mr. Mayor, is this scheduled to be done this fall if we finish it, if we did approve it?
Correct. It would be substantial completion by fall. Jared, maybe you know the exact date,
Yeah.
or Jeff.
The overall project, you know, will be substantially completed. I don't remember, it'd be late September, early October, basically when consider the construction season is over. Obviously, the zoo part will be the last piece of the project puzzle that we'll be doing, because again, we want to try to have a full zoo season, if at all possible, without major construction again.
Ron, what's our situation if we don't approve, and what's the bond situation? Will we have to advertise for bonding, say, a year from now? Where is that at?
Well, we have bond sale scheduled for 2 weeks out from today, and we would either postpone that or else we would reduce the bond amount and move ahead with the other two projects if we were to cancel this project. The bond rates are going to be very favorable for a bond sale at this point. Even though the prices are higher than we thought, you know, we did save money on one of the other projects, and actually more than what this went up. So I think we're still in good shape, and I would feel comfortable moving forward. Disappointed in the prices, as far as, you know, you'd think you'd see a little bit of a reduction because of the price of oil, but we didn't see that. There is a lot of things to work around at the zoo, so that is factoring into this. Looked like the bids were competitive, fairly close from all of the organizations that put bids in, so I think they're probably as close as we're going to get.
I would make a motion to accept the bid so we can discuss it further.
I'll second it.
Further discussion? Further discussion?
You feel comfortable with it?
Me?
Well,
Oh.
Ron, you kind of said that.
I do. This has happened before, and you know, we did see a good reduction on our other option. The bond sale itself isn't going to be off by that much from what we were anticipating. We set up to 3.5 million. We're going to be at about 3.3, even with this kind of a bid. So we're going to be lower than the maximum that we anticipated. So I think we're still in good shape, and we're going to see some really low rates when we do our bond sale, or we're fingers crossed that we are. And all indications are that the rates are going to be very favorable.
And I think that would be one of the issues. If we wait, we may get a little better price, but we're also going to probably have a higher rate.
Right.
So it's, you know, I fully expect
Quick,
next year that the rates are going to go back, by next year they go back up. I think from my viewpoint, the downside of waiting for a year, especially at Woodland Trails, is I was out there today and there were cars in the parking lot and up the road, and when it's wet, it's not nice to park there, and we also don't have a restroom out there. And that is part of this bid process, and I think that, to me, that's one of the important things to get done.
We could do all of them except the zoo, right? I mean, we could take them, like, it's not all or nothing, right? I'm not saying that's what we want to do.
I'm gonna defer to Jeff on how we put the bid together, if that's an option.
I mean, if the big part of the overage was because of the zoo, and maybe it would always stay that way, but I mean, could you do A, B, and C and not do D?
We bid all the asphalt as one piece, but we can negotiate with the contractor to see if, obviously, when you do a big reduction in quantity, sometimes their prices for that quantity goes up because obviously they have less quantity there too. Like Ron said, I believe all the bids were within $50,000 of each other. Truly, it was just a bad estimate on our part. We should have estimated higher originally, because when I talked to all the paving contractors, it's the difficulty of doing the work out there. Like Jared said, it's all skid steer work, and it's very labor intensive, and that's where we're at.
The three lowest bidders were all within 18% of each other, so they were pretty darn close.
If you look at the bids, the difference really isn't that drastic. They're line where bids should be in terms of differences.
Yeah.
I guess the question is I think Cliff is talking about is, are we going to save money a year from now? I mean, that's the $1 million question, and the way I look at it right now, I don't necessarily see that. Like I said, with the bonds right now are at a good price. We did save the $300,000+ last board meeting. I think if it's if it's there to be done, because like Chuck said, that we have certain projects that have to be done, and I think the zoo is another one that has to be done with the parking lot. So, I mean, I think we could wait you could sit there and look at it, wait a year, but then again, is that going to change anything?
Just another point on this with the paving master plan, with the exception of one project on this list, Leach Park, we don't have pavement, we don't have a sidewalk, so that is a brand new project on an old facility that we have where everyone else in the neighborhood has a sidewalk except for the park that's there. We wanted to pave that lot, it's been on our list. The zoo and Oak Park, the pavement is rated as failing in those areas, so we are, those we'd like to move ahead with if we can. It's not just maintenance there, we have major issues in those areas. It's up to you guys, but I'm fine with us moving ahead on this project, even though the price didn't come in as good as we hoped.
Further discussion?
My fear would be next year if we wait and they do come up with a big infrastructure package for the United States with what's going on, the contractors are going to be very, very busy, and our prices may be up next year. Right now, they're looking for work, and they were at this time. Next year may be a whole different ballgame. Plus, your bonding is cheaper this year than I think it will be next year.
Anything further?
Mr. Chairman, I'm having a little trouble hearing, but if it's possible to do absolutely what's necessary and piecemeal this into a couple projects, I would be in favor of that.
Anyone else? Call the roll.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Hubda,
No.
Olson,
Yes.
Wharton,
Yes.
Emery.
Yes. It passed. Award the bid there. Anything else? Any reports we want to talk about?
Most of our department heads are on the conference line if you have any questions about their reports.
Turn that up, see if I can hear it.
What's that?
I can't hear it.
I've got that on my list.
Okay.
So,
Chairman Emery, I got one thing too to add to my report. We are having a conference called USA Softball on May 2nd, and I know a lot of areas in the nation are looking at actually canceling softball and junior Olympic softball this year, so I don't think we're gonna see that in North Dakota up in this area, but we're kind of along the same lines as American Legion Baseball and everything else right now that's up in the air, so May 2nd is a conference call with our executive committee, so hopefully I'll have a report for you guys next week.
Okay.
Are we, if USA Softball organization were to cancel it, are we bound to cancel ours?
I would think you could do something locally if that's something that, I mean, I might be for the governor in that respect, and what we decide as a park district, but, you know, USA Softball governs everything and we all buy into that, so I'm not sure exactly how that's gonna sit with the state. If we did something just in Minot, we didn't do it anywhere else in the state, so.
I'm looking at like, you know, from liability, like umpires that are certified and they pay that, is that?
And that's the big thing, because all those umpires are registered to USA Softball. You know, they're also contracted by us, so they're covered under the park district too. But that the registration does cover that liability.
It also covers for the players too, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, you'd have the same thing that,
With that being said, Mr. President, they can do that. At the junior Olympic level, they are required to carry a liability insurance through USA Softball. But the adults, it's all, you know, if you want to do it or not. Otherwise, you're playing at your own risk.
so it's not like USA Hockey till when they register with the organization, they are covered with the sanctioning body's insurance?
Right. The insurance for JO softball is required. The insurance for the adult level is not, because you're assumed to be carrying your own type of insurance throughout the year.
Thank you.
Any other questions? So we do have the department heads online, if anybody has any questions on any of the reports.
What, I noticed, is Bob Gillen, are you on, Bob? Or maybe.
Mr. Chair, are you looking for an update on the piping project?
He said he's gonna have a timeline. Oh, okay, yeah.
Bob, I'm ready unless you want to go.
Yeah, there's a delay on YouTube, so I don't know what question was.
Okay, you're kind of hard to hear, so just.
Go for it.
All right, so Bob and I had a conference call with Simcoe today. I mean, as of right now, the chiller will be delivered to Minot typically about the 18th or 19th of May. We are working now from that date to now to get the floor drained and the concrete work done prior to the chiller delivery. And then at that point, the project, I mean, it is on schedule for the timeline, but right now, again, we got confirmation that it is set to be delivered the 18th or 19th of May. And we're now working backwards to get the proper people here to do the work to drain the floor, remove the concrete. And then when the chiller gets here, then that project will just keep moving, hopefully on schedule.
Perfect.
Do we have to drain the floor before we can cut the concrete?
That is highly recommended. So just in case, again, we would nickel pipe, we don't lose 5,000 gallons of refrigerant.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Any other questions? All right, we'll move on to new business. We've already taken care of the paving bids. Next item, the new business, consideration of closure of playgrounds. I asked that to be put on there because one of our discussions is what the rest of the state started doing, would be doing.
Barry, we're having trouble connecting here.
At this point, Fargo, West Fargo, Carrington, and Grand Forks have closed their playgrounds. Our playgrounds are getting very well used. Came through Oak Park on the way here, and there were a significant number of kids on our playgrounds. I have a concern about it, but I guess I want it out here for discussion to find out what the rest of the board feels about the playgrounds.
Well, I guess if there's not motion to close them, then I guess there's no reason to discuss it.
Like, I think the way I've written on the new business is, under discussion for consideration, we can discuss it. But
Well, I'll just say I'm comfortable with what we're doing. 100%.
Yeah, I feel the same. It's the individual's choice to have the children play in the playgrounds, and I'm 100% comfortable also with what we're doing.
Commissioner Warren?
Well, personally, I probably wouldn't take my kids out there right now. But if others want to use the facility, then I would say go ahead and let them, knowing that the risk is theirs, and knowing that we're doing what we can to clean them. I guess my question is, since the attorney's here, what kind of liability do we have if they can trace back when these kids ends up with the virus? I know that ought to be awful hard to do, but.
Well, that's a hard question to answer. Is there the potential for liability? Yes, there is the potential for liability.
What if they got the flu?
Potential for liability of even having the park open. You know, again, I think to the extent we can, if there is an intention to keep the playground equipment open, placing, you know, a notice on the Park District website or something to that effect, or placing signage by any equipment or something to that effect, just notifying people that, you know, the Park District is not responsible or cannot guarantee that,
Jerry, are you there?
you know, that there are, the equipment is gonna be free of COVID 19 virus, and that any use of the equipment is gonna be at your own risk. You know,
Hello?
I think that would, if we were to keep that equipment open and available to the public, that is a reasonable step that I think the Park District should look at undertaking to limit its liability to the extent possible.
That was the only question I guess I really had about it, because I think it's like anything else that, and we understand, we've heard the governor in his conference several times remark about large groups of people being together that they've seen out at times and so forth. So that, I think if we're willing to do that, if we have proper signage up and keep cleaning it and let them know we are cleaning it, it's their choice, you know.
What would we consider as proper signage? Make it that Magic Smiles right now, we have on the two handicap signs, 8x10 piece of white paper with small print on it as to the COVID stuff.
I think that's a reasonable standard. I mean, if someone goes out to use the piece of equipment, is it reasonable to expect that someone is going to notice the signage and have the opportunity to read it? I mean,
So maybe a little more signage to some of the playgrounds.
Make it bigger.
Well, and then I'll use the Magic Smiles there because it has signs at different sides of the playground, and we have them just the only place there's signs is on the parking side. Maybe putting signs at other ways that kids will be going in. Just something so people will look at it and think about it. You know, maybe that'll make some parents think. Maybe use the sanitizing wipe for their kid. But I just think we need to put a little bit more out there.
the alternative is you tape off the playground equipment and say people can't use it, but we don't have Park District personnel there to be able to ensure that people don't step over the tape. And I think it kind of rolls back to the initial discussion that we had as it relates to playground equipment and allowing the public to use it. We do what we can make playground equipment safe and to provide notice to the public that if they kind of use it at their own risk.
Excuse me.
Mr. Chairman?
Could you ask?
Hey, Cliff, can you turn off your computer and just listen through the speaker?
Yeah, I'll try that.
I think that's reasonable expectations on our end, is that if we have the proper signage there and we're doing what we can, and you know, you can't legislate common sense. And, you know, Perry and I had this discussion, you can block it off, it's not gonna keep them off if they wanna go on it. And so we can't have someone there 24 hours a day, that's just not feasible. So I would hope that some common sense and, you know, it's 70 degrees, 77 wouldn't out there today. I wouldn't blame them one bit. They've been cooped up for weeks here. So,
Yep. Go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, may I speak?
Yes, you may. Go ahead.
Just a couple of questions for our director. But first of all, I just want to read one little paragraph. I think probably most of you read it on a couple days ago on the front page of the Minot Daily on the doctor from Minot that's in New York. And he says, and we all know this, is an exceptionally contagious virus that lives on surfaces for days and lingers in the air for hours. It can be spread just by breathing and talking. I drove by and looked at and watched for a while the Oak Park playground today. There was some social distancing. There's also lots of kids grabbing the same bars, a few pushing each other around just like kids do. And so, Mr. Mayor, a couple of questions. Have you had conversations, I know you were talking once a week with other districts, with Grand Forks, Fargo, Dickinson, and the ones that are closing, and why are they doing that? And do we have a health department recommendation, the North Dakota Health Department?
North Dakota Health Department has not made a recommendation to close playgrounds. Individual park districts have taken that step for various reasons. I got clarification from West Fargo from Barb, their director, that they did the same thing that we did. They put up signs and they're not out policing it. They're still letting people go on their playgrounds at their own risk. Fargo had closed theirs completely. Grand Forks, the health unit in Grand Forks pressured them to close their playgrounds. On the last call that we had on Friday, they were working with UND to find a way to sanitize their playgrounds so they could try and open them back up. And so there's a variety of reasons. You know, nothing has come down from the state. In fact, if you listen to the governor on Friday, that question came up again. It's came up several times in his press conferences, and he did not, once again, had a chance and did not recommend against, you know, using the playground, or, you know, it's at your own risk. If you feel like you need to sanitize it before you get on it, please do so, but don't, you know, he's not encouraging people, but he's not discouraging either. He hasn't taken a stand on it. So it's kind of coming down to the individual park districts to make that call. Everyone knows where I stand on it. Go ahead, Cliff.
What is your recommendation, Rob?
I say if we had language that Pete recommended and put a bigger signs up around our playgrounds, I'd be fine. You know, we are coming upon a time where within the next week and a half to 2 weeks, slowly but surely, we're going to start to see our facilities open back up again. So it seems that at this point, we let it go until then and open things back up. We can definitely do some more, you know, some more signage and make sure people get the message that they're using them at their own risk. But it's very difficult for us to close these down without people using them anyway.
President Emery?
Well, I think that'd help a little, but, you know, I just think it's an impossible situation.
Yes, sir.
You know, it has many different facets to it. And there is, if you are looking at the issue of liability, obviously, if the park district makes a call that the playground equipment should be shut down, and they tape it and they place notices and so forth. Obviously, that is providing the most insulation from liability to the park district. If the park district doesn't believe that such a drastic step is necessary, they do what is reasonable to clean the equipment and provide notification to the public that if they're gonna use that equipment, they do so at their own risk, and they can take whatever measures they think are appropriate to protect themselves in using it.
Any other discussion on this? Good. Increase the signs and keep going like we are.
Okay.
Old business, COVID-19 ongoing operations.
All right, first I'm going to ask Jared to step up to the podium. He passed out a revenue report and operating expenses. We're delving into that as well. We're looking at our reports, trying to see, we have been able to point out a few areas where we're saving some money, and we know there are other areas where we are as well. But the revenue report, you guys have all seen it. It's, I mean, a lot of the revenue that we have lost was at our ice arena as compared to our other facilities. We're also, a lot of the programs with the recreation programming this time of the year were closed and halted, and we've had to issue refunds. We do also see, with the loss of revenue, we also have reduced our operating expenses. Some of our programs are run at break even or even subsidized, and if you don't have the program, you're not going to lose some money per se. You're either going to break even, or maybe you even gain some on some of those. So overall, I think we're in good shape. I know our revenue is down more than our operating expenses are down, but it's not a huge dollar amount in the scope of our budget. If you have any questions, I think Jared or our other department heads could probably speak to those.
With the hope being that we're going to start to see things open up.
Correct.
Which is
we're seeing.
I think it's good that we're continuing going on like normal with summer, with the hope that, you know, some huge government body above us doesn't kibosh it on us.
We're seeing good numbers at the golf course already.
Yeah.
Even though we have distancing rules going on at the golf course, we're seeing really good numbers out there for the time that we've been open, based on the weather, which it always is. But whenever it's nice out, the golf course is very busy. Season tickets are being sold, so we're seeing some big revenue numbers coming in at the golf course at this point, and hopefully that stays. If we have nice weather, it's going to stay busy. People are adjusting to the conditions that we have, and they're still taking advantage of it.
President Emery and Park Board Commissioners, you know, for the May meeting, I'll have this cleaned up a little more than it is right now. I mean, I was just trying to keep it section by section and week to week. You know, now maybe a light at the end of the tunnel here for possible reopening in phases. We'll be able to probably, you know, again, look at the operational, you know, expenses that are different from a year ago at this time and things like that. So again, hopefully I'll have a little more full report for you by our May board meeting. And then again, I'll need to have it cleaned up and everything to send in through our insurance company also. So this is just kind of an overview. Some are extended out through the end of April, some are still week to week. But again, I'll have a better copy for you for the May meeting. But I can try to answer questions.
Do you have the numbers in front of you for the total loss and total savings?
No, I do not. And that's stuff we're going to be working on, because we're getting close to the end of this, obviously, month of April. And then we can kind of see what expenses were, you know, for, you know, programs, staffing, and in some places, utilities.
It would have been very easy for us in past years to just look at the month and compare month to month from year to year, but last year, the first part of April, we added an entire department. So using last year's budget for comparison just isn't going to work. This will be our first solid year from beginning to end of a budget that we will have for comparison going forward. And of course, now we throw this into it, so it might not be a fair comparison either. So, but we're gonna find a way to drill down per facility and get you those numbers. It's still an ongoing thing, so we're not finished with it yet. I have more to add to this whenever you guys are ready.
Do you have any questions for Jared on revenue? Thank you.
So, last Friday on our director's call, it was decided that our state association was kind of helped us set up these calls, that groups from across the state would get together with different facilities like the ice and the outdoor pools and rec centers and all of the different concessions and things that we all are dealing with, and get representatives from across the state and start meeting to put together guidelines for how we could possibly reopen, what that would look like at some point when we get the green light from the governor's office and from our boards. So that is being done. Also, the governor's office reached out through the Department of Commerce and picked 8 representatives in Parks and Recreation across the state in public. They also put private entities and some YMCA representation in there. And I participated in a call this morning with that group. We're going to meet again on Thursday, and we're doing the same thing. Our state association is involved in that as well, and we're trying to fast track some guidance to the governor's office for the State Department of Health to approve, and for them to approve for, if they give us the green light based on the plan, the North Dakota Smart Restart plan that he announced yesterday, if we fit into one of the phases of that we could reopen, and they would be, okay with it. So phase 1 is what he's been talking about that would go into effect on May 1st, and that's, he announced that, so that date could still be subject to change, but that would include medical spas, cosmetologists, stylists, barbers, tanning salons, restaurants and bars, massage therapists, and health clubs. Phase 2 would be the next phase that would be implemented, and that's kind of where we fit in. That would be athletic fields and athletic facilities, music, entertainment venues, recreation facilities. So most of our facilities would fit in on phase 2. Phase 1, I'm not sure what we have right now that would fit into that, but they're going to do a color coding of counties and watching for the testing results. And red is the status we're in now. Yellow would be partial opening, and green would be full opening. So we're working with them to give them recommendations. Okay, if the ice arena were to reopen, this is how we would operate it based on the yellow status or the green status. And we're doing that facility by facility, and this is going to happen really fast. But May 1st, if something starts opening and a week or 2 later we get the green status in our county, we may be opening most of our facilities. It might not look as normal yet, but so that's kind of that's what we're working with our state association and the Department of Commerce.
Why are we red? We have 20 cases in Ward County. We're the 4th most tested county. It's not even close compared to the others. Cass, Grand Forks, Burley. We have 20 cases, yet we're still red. How do they decide that?
I think everybody is still red until May 1st, and then they'll implement the code, and whatever status you're at on May 1st is, I do not know.
No.
And we have 20 cases that were positive from the start.
Correct.
We don't have 20 active cases.
No, there's 17 people in the hospital statewide right now.
We don't know what our active number is anymore.
Correct.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and that's the kind of information that you really need.
Yeah.
If we're
But it's less
going to
than
move
20.
ahead, so. Yeah, I don't have an answer for you. We're relying on them when they put out their daily stats to give us that information. So that's what we're working with right now. So we are actively participating. We're getting a voice in how this is going to look. So I'm happy about that. And hopefully it moves fairly quickly, and that would be a good thing, because that means our county's in good shape and we're going to be able to get things opened back up again sooner than later. That's what we're working with internally. So we're looking at it individually at our facilities, but also participating in a statewide effort to get things reopened again.
How are you guys doing it logistically? Let's take the swimming pool, for example. We don't know when the pool's gonna open up. How are you guys hiring people right now? How are you guys getting ready? Like, if they say on Monday you're ready to hire, are you gonna have lifeguards, or are you gonna have personnel, or how are you guys doing it logistically?
Very good question.
President Emery and Commissioner Schmidt, that's a great question. The staff about a week ago put together, I think I talked about minimum and maximum hiring from now until, again, fully reopen. Again, the pool is something we typically don't open until that last weekend in May, first weekend in June, again, depending on factors. So again, our pool supervisor has been contacting her returning lifeguards and just, again, trying to get everyone prepared. Are you coming back, or things like that. Working on trying to figure out lifeguard certifications. Our maintenance staff, again, is going to start the process of getting the pool prepped and ready to go. Obviously, it takes a little time to fill it and then balance it out for chemicals. But again, things like that, again, we're just trying to be ready if the switch flips and we start. We're going to do the best we can. Again, some staffs might be a little more minimal than they normally would at starting time, but they're all contacting, they're doing phone interviews and Zoom interviews and all things like that, just to try to be prepared. So, I think overall our department they've done a very good job managing this and trying to be prepared for when we can, reopen fully. It doesn't give you a concrete answer, but everybody's been working on it, and that's kind of the plan we're going with. And a few of the things that are a little bit later, well, let's just plan on our typical opening time until we are told differently.
It's kind of once we hear that, yeah, the plan that we presented, that we all put together, would get approval from the state health department, then we could say, okay, now we can pick a date and we can move ahead, at least tentatively. So we're still waiting for that to happen before Jared can give them to go ahead to hire the people, but we feel like we're getting very close to that.
Yeah, tentatively hired staff.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Start date to be determined.
And the lifeguard certification is an annual certification, so they all have to do it, or do you know for
I
sure?
believe it is an annual certification, and they are working on that.
And you got to have a pool to do it.
Yes.
There are no pools right
There
now.
are no
Very
pools.
difficult.
Super,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay.
That's all I have at this point.
Any question?
Oh,
Programming note, our registrations, Scott can chime in whenever but I don't want to speak for Ann, but since she is not here, can't be here tonight, programming, our registrations are really low right now, where they would normally be. One thing is probably it's not on top of people's minds, they're wondering if we're gonna have it. So Ann, Maddie, and Ashley and I have been working on getting brochures. We've set up in the parks and handed them out. They went out to the parks today and were able to get quite a few of them out. Working with some of our area schools that are still delivering packets and food and stuff like that to kids, so we are gonna get about probably 2,000 out that way. And then one of the big things as you're doing research as we all are on this is one of the first things that people will cut when money is tight will be recreation. So we're going to be working on really having a campaign out there that we have a no questions asked scholarship policy. So basically we just give them a sheet of paper and they put their name and their child's name and what their child wants to do, and they're going to be able to participate. So we just really want to get it out there, so if you guys get any questions, we're not going to turn any kid away for any reason as far as being able to afford it or not. So we just really want that on the forefront as we're getting kids registered. So we're moving forward that we're going to be able to go that second week in June. We have put out there that if refunds need to be done or we need to adapt to any regulations, we'll definitely do that. But we want to be that bright spot so people can have a fun summer. It might look a little different than it usually does, but we're going to try our darndest to make it work. So,
President Emery and Park Board Commissioners, I'll kind of piggyback on what Ellie is talking about. I know with like adult softball and things like that, Tom and Ann, they've extended the registration deadlines, and they've been in communication. I mean, right now, they typically start at the middle of May for the adult softball programs. So again, we, could be somewhat in line for that. We have been reaching out to all our user groups, especially for youth activities. Got favorable responses of, mid-May, first part of June, depending on, again, what our phasing plan is. So again, everybody's thinking about it and trying to be prepared. But, right now, there's just a few programs that obviously have been impacted quite a bit by this, but most are kind of, again, if we can, start the phasing first part of May, we'll be close to on track for, some of the youth programs that are summer programs. So, but we have been in contact. They're going to work with us. We'll work with them to get things going as soon as we can when we get to whatever phase it is.
Thank you. Anything else in the COVID-19 operations? Golf course plan update.
All right, so a couple of things. I've shared this with you, but just to reiterate, the first week in April, we talked to our golf course architect, Mr. Phelps, out of the Denver office. He had a 95% golf course plan, 95% complete, and that included the irrigation plan as well. So he probably is in the upper 90s now with that plan set. So we're meeting our goal that way. KLJ is still working through permitting issues with the Corps and the other things. We'll work on our water irrigation permit, the water permit, and talk to the Service River Joint Board and going through all of those. Working on setting up a meeting as well with the landowners to the east of our property to discuss the potential roadway entrance in the future. So all of those things are moving ahead. And we will be sharing the bid tab that you guys just approved with KLJ for the parking lot in the southwest corner if we move ahead with that project. So they will finish a plan set for us and probably bring that to our next board meeting, hopefully for you guys to look at. So that's where things are at on that.
Questions for Ron on the golf course plan?
Jared had to have the guys put up a new gate on the upper entrance because people were taking our gate down and driving in there. It was really muddy, so we put a new gate up. We left a pedestrian entrance there so people can still walk in.
All right. Roosevelt Park water slide update.
The only thing we have to update is the bids are out. They're advertising right now. We will open bids on May 26th for the water slide project. I don't know what time of day we'll send out a notice, but so we potentially want to discuss having a meeting to award those bids at some point, probably not the same day that we open them, but at some point in that timeline. Could be a fairly quick meeting.
All right. Any other business?
We have before you the joint powers agreement for the Community Ice Facility Fund, the request that we made to the City of Minot that they approved. They approved last night on second reading the joint powers agreement, so now we would need to approve that. All of you should have a copy of that. Pete reviewed it, and then he reviewed it again. He's reviewed it twice. So.
All right, we have the joint powers agreement. You all received that as an email. Entertain a motion for approval of the joint powers agreement.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Any discussion?
Second.
All in favor? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right.
I have one other thing.
Okay.
Under other business, this would be, I would be requesting that you would call a special meeting of the board on May 5th, late afternoon or evening of your choice, but that would be the date of our bond sale. So at some point towards the end of the day, we would have we would have someone to award that to. The bid will be open in the morning that day, and the offers will come in. This is the funding for our projects that we've approved.
If we set up a special meeting on May 5th at 6:30, does that work for majority of the board?
Yes.
Okay, then we will schedule a special meeting on May 5th at 6:30 to discuss our bond sale.
All right.
Do we want to do 6:30 or do we want to do a different time? Does everyone like 6:30? It's not going to be a long meeting, right?
No.
Should be.
Want to do 5 o'clock?
All right,
Get people home for,
It's good for me.
good for me. 5 work for you, Cliff?
Yes, it does.
5 o'clock on May 5th then.
let's do it at 5 so people can go home.
Yep.
Be with their families.
It's nice if we have it, online so people don't have to come. And we probably won't be able to come yet at that point, but
Yes,
and the
we will.
time isn't that important. So, all right, thank you.
All right, we have no alcohol permits, so go on to director's report.
Okay, I'll make this short. A couple of items. The Greenway Maintenance Agreement, which I've discussed with all of you, I should be able to share that with you within a week or two, so you have time to look at it, and we could have that on our agenda for the May Park Board meeting, our regularly scheduled meeting. So we've looked at it, and Pete has looked at it, I'll have him look at it again, and we've come to an agreement between us and the city. It's just a matter of going through the formality of approving those. Mesa scoreboard, we talked about that here a meeting ago, and we have met, and maybe I'll have Jared explain kind of where we're at on that project.
All right, Park Board President, Commissioners, again, we've been reviewing some of the correspondence between some different companies for a possible scoreboard upgrade at the Mesa. Again, just trying to compare apples to apples in their, won't say proposals, but their information. So we did receive some information back from the one company we had a few more questions from. They have sent those back. We have been reviewing them. So I think we're probably getting pretty close to being able to put out an RFP for bids on the possible scoreboard upgrade for the Pepsi rink at the Mesa, and that would also include moving the existing one into the Eck rink at the same time.
And we have donation dollars for that, correct?
Yes, you are correct.
Would both ceilings be required of reinforcement?
Yes, they would, and we have a ROLAC who, again, basically built both the facilities, are working with the steel company to get the ratings and to get the engineered plans to what it will take. So that will also be included in our plan. Don't have that for you yet, but everybody has been working on that also.
So if you guys are agreeable, we may have a spec version of a bid for you guys to look at our May meeting as well, that we could then start advertising, if everybody's happy with it. Then a couple other items, the DRT meeting at the city level, the leopard exhibit was presented to that group. Some discussion was held about the floodplain and some other items, but in general, if we meet their guidelines, it was favorable for that project. So that's just another step that we had to go through to make sure that that project could get approved if we were to move ahead on it. Design on the overlook property is pretty much complete for our part of the project. So talking about the roadway and the parking lot improvements. So we haven't had any discussions with that group at all during this time. It may not even be worth talking to them until things get closer to back to normal again. But our goal was to have that design complete by this time of the year, and we have accomplished that. So I was happy with that. The other thing that just to bring up, we will start working on our budget for 2021. We've been talking about it. It's April, and this would be about the time every year that we start on it. And we have to approve a preliminary budget. I think it's on August 10th. So we do have some time, but it's time for us to start working on our budget for next year. And we'll see if we have to make any adjustments, if things get back to normal or not, or how that's gonna affect us right now. You know, we can easily adjust our budget to account for what's happening. Moving forward, we'll have to see how that plays out. But we'll be starting internally with putting together capital lists in our regular budget. So that's all I have at this point to share with you.
Any questions for Ms. Merritt? Commissioner reports. Commissioner Schmidt?
They really don't have anything at this time. I can't remember who I was talking to the other day. I did get a nice text sent to me by a couple that were out the Woodland Trails, and they were just, I mean, very, very complimentary about the Woodland Trails, about the new additions out there, the trail itself, and they said that there was like 13, 14 cars parked out there, but everybody was doing the social distancing, so they were just, I mean, just a long text with nothing but glowing comments, so, you know, good job to the park staff for getting that going, and it's been fabulous, so that's all I have.
Commissioner Hovda, do you have anything?
I do not.
Commissioner Olson?
I just want to thank the staff for rolling through with this COVID stuff and still proceeding as normal as possible, so that when we can open, we can give a product to the citizens that we should get. In my opinion, this has gone way too far. The whole flatten the curve thing was designed to stop hospitals from overcrowding. We have done that. The latest numbers today, 230 beds is the projection for the most people in North Dakota. There's over 1,500 available. Today, the governor of Florida announced that they are reopening because they have flattened the curve, and the goal of flattening the curve was to make sure that the hospitals are not overrun. They've done that there. I hope we do it here soon, so that not only recreation can get going, but businesses that are about ready to fail can open as well. Sorry.
Commissioner Morton?
Nothing to add.
I'd like to echo Commissioner Olson's appreciation to the staff. You know, it's another unusual year, and I think that everything is going very well. Maybe we found some new and innovative ways of managing departments and doing the job, and I think everything's been being done very well. And on that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn the Park Board meeting to go into the foundation.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Now I'll call in order the foundation meeting. Any personal appearances for the foundation? Entertain a motion to approve the minutes of March 17th Minot Park Foundation meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Approval of bills. I believe we do have a bill to put in.
All right, foundation president and foundation commissioners. There is, again, one addition for a bill. It's to add on to, excuse me, the greenhouse installation. Foundation looking at a bill for $10,000 that will be included in to pay off the Three Nails contracting for greenhouse installation. So, you know, total bill of $33,000, but $10,000 out of foundation.
Entertain a motion to pay the bill of $10,000.
Also move.
A second.
Discussion. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Schmidt?
Yes.
Hovda?
Yes.
Olson?
Yes.
Morton?
Yes.
Emery?
Yes. Thank you. March statement. Probably don't want to know too much about that.
No.
Any new business? Any other business? Entertain a motion for adjournment of the foundation meeting.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting is adjourned. Thank you all very much.